Greg McElroy. Played football at Alabama, in case you'd forgotten. Got a ring.
Many people probably have. It's been a long time.
It's been a minute.
It's been a long time.
Not that long. Or at least I don't want to think it's been that long.
Yeah,
because that makes me older, too.
I know, it's a bummer.
If I remember correctly, you were not for the expanded playoff.
Yeah.
And your rationale was that it would devalue games in the regular season.
Yes.
Is that fair?
That is accurate. So I consider myself an anti-expansionist. And it's not – here's the problem. I look at it through my silo as, let's just say, an Alabama fan and as an Alabama player. Like, I don't like that when I got to the NFL, it's like, yeah, we can lose that one. We're still fine if we lose that one. You know, I don't we're fine if we lose that one. I really don't like the idea that there are 7 or 8 teams that are ultimately going to have to play their way out of the college football playoff because of their personnel, because of their roster, because of what they've done in the past, like all those things. Like, let's just be real. The only way Georgia's missing the playoff this year is if they lose 4 games. We know for sure if they lose 4 games, they're out. They lose 3, they might still be in. It's still a possibility depending on what happens elsewhere. So I don't like that idea of it, and I also don't like watering down the games that became once-a-year events. But we're already trending in that direction already with the 14 playoff, and with us getting rid of divisions in the 14 playoff, there was going to be many, many years in which Michigan and Ohio State were going to play each other twice. And now they might play each other 3 times, and that makes me uncomfortable. Because I feel like the Egg Bowl, for example, you have the game, and you live with the outcome of the game for the next 365 days until I get my next chance. Mm-hmm. And that's what the sport was built on. So while all of that frustrates me, I also am now starting to see the net benefit and interest level for fan bases that have never thought they've had a chance. Yeah. And I'm not talking about like the Utahs, those that have been close but haven't quite gotten over the edge. I'm talking about the teams like SMU that legitimately think they can win the ACC this year. I'm talking about the teams like the Boise States of the world, the Memphises of the world. Like, those teams really have a chance, which I think will grow the game, but it's going to grow a more casual audience, and the teams and the fans of the blue blood teams probably not going to reap the same benefit that the greater good will likely receive.
I think that's a reasonable explanation. The pushback that I would give you is, while sacrificing those massive games, and maybe you have a few games that if you win, you would have gotten in. If you lose, you got to live with it.
Right.
You have created, let's say there are 10 of those, a dozen of those over the course of the year.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe it's 8 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
You have created 50 more games where the stakes are so much higher than they would have been otherwise, and so you have cast a wider net. There are more people interested, and you get more games of consequence as opposed to fewer games of consequence.
And I think that's perfectly fair, but the games that are, quote, of consequence in that example are amongst flawed teams. And ultimately, Georgia makes the playoff last year, they probably win another national championship. How many different years where Bama was left out of the playoff where they make it in, they probably win it? Or Ohio State in 2015. Like, there was a do-or-die nature of the sport where when you lost a game in the regular season, you honestly wanted to go and find the biggest bridge in your county and go like, think about it. You know what I mean? Like, it was a devastating event. And I just don't like how there's going to be aspects of this new world that we're living in which it's like, oh, well, hey, we lost. It's fine. We're good. Let's go get them next week, boys. Like, that to me is just uncomfortable.
I've said this probably a dozen times.
But you're 100% right in, like, bringing more fan bases in. And I think that is also, like I said, I think it's a net benefit now. But it's different, for sure.
I do think there is a flaw with the system that we are going into. And the flaw is that the 4 teams that get a bye,
no home game,
don't get that home game. Because I think that opening weekend of games where you've got 4 spots, for our purposes, let's say one's in Oxford, one's in Ann Arbor, one's in
South Bend.
South Bend, and one's in Baton Rouge.
Right.
Let's just say those are the 4 spots.
Yeah.
Those will be 4 of the
Electric.
coolest. And you'll be calling one of them,
Yeah.
which is pretty awesome.
It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. That of all the things I'm looking forward to this year, that home playoff game is the one I'm most excited about.
You know.